I will be very brief. First of all, I'd like to thank my colleagues in advance for supporting S-789, the RESPECT Act. Throughout history, Native Americans have been subjected to federal laws that are offensive, immoral, and outright racist. In many cases, these laws are more than a century old and do nothing but continue the stigma of subjugation and paternalism from that time period. Clearly, there is no place in our legal code for such laws. The idea that these 11 laws in the RESPECT Act were ever considered is disturbing, but the fact that these laws remain in our books is at best an oversight. While we cannot rewrite the past, we can help write a better future for generations to come by repealing these 11 outdated federal laws that are discriminatory to Native Americans. I thank Senator Smith for joining me in introducing this legislation, and I do look forward to working with my colleagues on both sides of the aisle to pass the RESPECT Act this session of Congress. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Senator Langford.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. I am an original co-sponsor of the RESPECT Act and proud to be able to be that. This is a cleanup, and it's something that's long overdue for Congress to be able to look back, find laws that are on the books that should have never been there in the first place, but certainly shouldn't be there now. Some of the statutes that are still on federal books are things like you cannot pay a Native American if they're under the influence of intoxicating liquor, that you can actually force people that are Native Americans into forced labor, that their children could be taken from them without parental consent and put into boarding schools. I'm embarrassed that we as a nation ever had these laws in the books. I'm really embarrassed that they're still on the books. We passed this overwhelmingly out of the Senate last year. It did not get attention in the House. I'm pleased that we're taking it up immediately this year again, and I'm hopeful that the House will actually take this up and to be able to work through this. I do want to mention one thing as well. Senator Wyden's staff has been terrific in working through a couple of questions that we had on S-421, and they've been great to be able to work through on some alterations and some things on that particular piece. So I'm supportive of that again today, and grateful to his team for the work that they've done.
Senator Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and Vice Chair Murkowski. I'll just very briefly say thank you to Senator Rounds. It's good to be able to work with you on this. And I hope as we lift up these, as we make this change in this legislation that, if we make these changes in these old laws that are so deeply disrespectful to Native people, that we can lift up the idea that we need to continue to respect tribal sovereignty and to continue to look for ways that we have still to improve. Thank you.
Any other members wishing to make a statement? If not, I'll ask for a motion to consider the bills en bloc. Is there a second? Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, say no. S-421 and S-789 pass. I want to thank the members for getting the business of our committee completed expeditiously today. I ask unanimous consent that staff be allowed to make technical and conforming changes. There being no objections or further business before the committee, the meeting is adjourned.